PFT OT, the extra show beyond PFT Live, where we talk about some things that we didn't get to and maybe talk about some things we did get to, but we want to talk about it some more. And let's start by talking about what Chris Long is talking about when it comes to Aaron Donald, former teammate with the then St. Louis Rams. Remember, Chris Long left the Rams before they moved to L.A., spent some time with the Eagles and the Patriots before retiring. But Chris Long said recently that he knew that Aaron Donald would be a Hall of Famer from his first practice. That's how good the guy was. And Chris, how did the guy not get picked higher if it was that obvious that the guy was that good?
Because the height, weight, speed measurables were not the proper formula for the position, or was unseen, almost like, a quarterback that's short where we just go, oh, I don't know. So Aaron Donald was kind of one of the first test cases as far as that undersized defensive tackle. Can a guy that's, 280 pounds really be a three-technique defensive tackle and handle double teams against NFL offensive linemen? I just think that everybody saw the talent, but I think everybody was scared of the fact that it had not been done that way at that position. That's the biggest thing. But Mike, that does happen. I was fortunate enough to be around some big draft picks, right? Like that, like Cadillac Williams was the top 5 pick, running back from Auburn. As soon as we got him, I was like, man, the first practice, I was like, ooh, this guy's legit. He's going to be one of the better running backs in the NFL. Aqib Talib, Mike, first practice ever, he had 2 interceptions, and he was covering receivers, and I went, oh, guy's going to be special. Like, this guy is going to be a superstar corner. You knew it right away, and so it's cool to hear Chris Long talk that way about Aaron Donald.
Wait, you were on the same team with Aqib Talib?
My his rookie year, when he got drafted out of Kansas, I was still in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, yep. And
he was a wild child, as Raheem Morris called him.
He was a wild child, and they knew that. And anybody that's been around Aqib Talib, he's an awesome guy, bright smile, always good mood, like one of my favorite teammates I was ever with. And yes, he was a little wild. Exactly right. Like, not in a mean way, but he was wild, and the Bucs knew that. But man, he could play, Mike. Like, just one of those guys. As soon as he stepped on the field, I said, oh, he's a little different than the rest of these guys out here, and I'm not shocked to see that he's having the career he's had.
I know this is supposed to be about Aaron Donald, but I need to add one thing.
Yeah.
Aqib Talib, his rookie year, that was when they used to do the rookie symposium where they would send all the rookies to Canton for a few days.
Right.
He got into a fight with one of his Tampa Bay teammates at the rookie symposium where, they're trying to teach these guys how to not get in trouble, and they got into a fight.
I know,
an actual fight at the symposium.
I can't remember who it was, who the heck he got in the fight with, but you're right. I do remember that now that you're saying that. I had forgotten about that, but I'm not shocked by that either. Aqib's going to say what is on his mind, and Aqib, if you challenge him, he certainly is not going to back down.
Well, what Chris Long said about Aaron Donald is, I've never seen anybody work so hard, who had so much talent and play so violently and play with such tenacity. The guy would fight you on the field at the drop of a hat, and I respect that about him. He outworks everybody. I'd be the last person in the film room, usually at the end of camp, and I would go in there and watch tape once. Everybody was at home. I started going in there and opening the door and turning the lights on to find my pen or notebook, and he was in there every night. So, works hard, puts in the effort, has the God-given ability, and one of the best interior defensive linemen the game has ever seen. The Buffalo Bills are at a weird spot at the running back position because they've added Frank Gore, they've got TJ Yeldon, they drafted a rookie, and LeSean McCoy is still there. And recently, LeSean McCoy had some comments about his age. He's going to be 31. He expects to be motivated by that, even though he had a down year in 2018. TJ Yeldon says he expects wait a minute. Have I screwed this up?
No.
Is TJ Yeldon's with the Bills, right?
Yes, you're right.
I always get TJ Yeldon. I get TJ Yeldon mixed up with the guy the 49ers signed. Who's the guy the 49ers signed from
Tevin Coleman.
Tevin Coleman. I've been doing that since those guys got drafted.
That's the first time I've ever seen your cheeks get red. Like you were embarrassed a little bit there.
I thought I screwed something up, and we were going to have to retape it. Now we don't have to retape it, and we can be totally transparent that I had a little bit of a brain fart.
That's good.
I had a little Ben Roethlisberger brain fart, kind of live, but not really live. See, what we ordinarily would do, I used to do these one topic at a time, Chris.
Right.
So that was a point where we'd scrap it and start over, but what the hell? Let's keep rolling.
Yeah,
Full transparency. I saw TJ Yeldon, and I thought Tevin Coleman, and I don't know why. I'm telling you, I think they were drafted the same year. From the year they were, for whatever reason, I've had this mental block. TJ Yeldon, Tevin Coleman, and I always get them mixed up. So anyway, it's TJ Yeldon who is also on that Bills depth chart, and he said he expects a heated competition, and LeSean McCoy expects to have a job.
Yeah,
I expect he's going to get squeezed. He's due to make more than $6 million this year, and I think that it could get very interesting, especially if TJ Yeldon, not Tevin Coleman, is right about the heated competition, because Frank Gore is still legit.
Yeah.
And he does not nearly get the respect he deserves. And McCoy's been talking about the motivation he's received from watching Gore. Gore's going to motivate himself right into a job, and it could be McCoy who's on the outside looking in, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I think if a guy like TJ Yeldon, Gore, okay, let's not forget they drafted Devin Singletary, who's a lot like LeSean McCoy in theory as a player, the kind of guy that'll break your ankles out in, open space. That if those three kind of prove themselves to be a worthy trio or, running back by committee, yeah, LeSean McCoy would be one of those veteran guys that I'd go, ooh, he could get released during training camp or something like that. I don't think that's like totally out of the realm of possibilities with evaluating this. Now, I still think LeSean McCoy's got some talent left. It's going downhill, definitely. He's actually surprised me with the play being as good as it's been at this age for as much wear and tear as he has on his tires. But that is going to be a legit competition there. I think that's going to be a new offense in Buffalo, and I expect a lot of big things. And, of course, that's a big position for they're running the New England type of offense. They need guys that can do a lot of different things within there and find their role within that Patriot scheme that they're running in Buffalo.
And I feel like LeSean McCoy is one of those guys who is just enough of a pain in the butt that when you do detect slippage in his skills,
you want to say bye? Yeah.
Between that and the money, I think what they're going to do is they're going to squeeze him to take a lot less at some point in August. Right. I think they're going to say to him, look, you're $6 million plus is not justified by the production that you gave us last year and what we anticipate this year. So you take a pay cut or you take a hike. And when you approach a guy with that kind of an alternative in August, what are his choices?
Yeah.
Now, maybe he gets lucky and there's a running back who gets injured somewhere else. Maybe Tevin Coleman gets injured in San Francisco and that creates an opening for him. But either way, the Bills running back position, unsettled, and do not assume LeSean McCoy is going to be with that team as of week 1. And yes, it's TJ Yeldon with the Bills, Tevin Coleman with the 49ers. I'm going to keep reminding myself of that over the next few weeks so I have it down pat when we come back from hiatus, or my hiatus may be permanent. All right, Davante Adams, top receiver for the Green Bay Packers currently, and he was raving about a guy that Chris Simms identified before anyone else as a potential great player, Darnell Savage, the safety who ended up being a first-rounder. People were like, why is he a first-rounder? Well, just ask Chris. You were all over it. And now Davante Adams, after an offseason program, a believer in Darnell Savage.
Yeah, and the thing that's interesting here, too, is a lot of the comments you heard about were like mental-wise. Oh, the guy's smart. He knows how to play, can do all these different positions. That's what was encouraging to me, Mike, because the physical aspect of him is mind-blowing. You know me, rockets up your butt. Well, this guy's got 2 rockets up his butt. That's how fast he is. He is a game changer on that side of the ball and can do, in the box safety play. He could go out and cover a slot receiver man-to-man and be on them like glue. And then, of course, he could play the free safety position and just be a center field back there and react to balls and break on it and do that way. But he is a jack of all trades and a special, special talent. He was a guy I didn't really start to watch and get to towards the end of the draft process period. And when I watched him, I wrote down, oh my gosh, this is a first-round safety. This is special. And that's why we're expecting some big things in Green Bay with that defense this year. I mean, they legit got some good personnel there this year to where I think they could be a top 10 defense or should be a top 10 defense.
I agree with you. And look, we focus so much on that offense. Having Mike Pettin still there, having it an opportunity to gel a little bit more. It's an aggressive attack, and we get so caught up sometimes with one side of the ball for a given team, we just completely lose sight that the other side may be good enough to be the right kind of complement to help
exactly, Mike.
The original side of the ball do even better. We get I don't know if it's a fantasy football thing or what,
right?
But it's the two sides come together and influence greatly.
Exactly.
The better your defense is, the better your offense is going to be. The better your offense is, the better your defense is going to be for a variety of positions. Points, game conditions,
Right.
field position,
Rest.
turnovers, everything.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, you're exactly right. We do. We usually pin it to one side of the ball or the sexiest aspect of the team, and really the good teams do play complementary football to where their basic premises of what they do on defense matches what they'd want to do on offense so they can play that complete team game. And, yeah, I think that's what's going to be interesting about Green Bay, because I think it's for the first time in a long time with Aaron Rodgers that we're going to go, okay, there's actually a run game that teams have to worry about. And then I think we're also going to be this is they got a defense to where Aaron Rodgers isn't going to feel like he's got to push the envelope and score 28 points a game. He might be able to play a different game this year and go, no, I think we can win this game 20-17, and I don't need to take the chances or do that type of stuff. So that's what I'm really interested to see how it all unfolds up in Green Bay.
There's been some tension between the Detroit Lions and receiver Calvin Johnson that traces to the Lions' decision to seek repayment of at least $1 million from Calvin Johnson when he retired without fully earning all of the signing bonus money he had received on his final contract. And Calvin Johnson's made it clear, you want to make nice with me? You got to pay me my money back. Barry Sanders, a guy who had to pay money back to the Lions when he retired 20 years ago, he seems to think they should be able to work this out. But, Calvin Johnson seems to be completely and totally dug in. It's simple. It's clear. Calvin Johnson could have just dug in his heels and forced the Lions to cut him, and I think they would have cut him. He had a huge cap number for 2016. So he walked away, and shame on his agent for not setting up an agreement where they wouldn't come after that money. But I think that Calvin Johnson is right to dig in on this one. This isn't like Barry Sanders, who abruptly quit on football. It was his right to do it, but it's not the same.
Right.
Calvin Johnson was beaten up. Calvin Johnson was done.
Right.
The team was done with him at that price. They never would have kept him for 2016. Why'd you make him give the money back in the first place? Why not give him back the money? Come up with some phony job that you pay him, and then he's happy, and you can have one of your all-time great players in the good graces of the organization and vice versa.
Exactly. I mean, easily one of the 5 greatest players in the history of the organization. And, yeah, it's a bad look for the Lions, and I understand where Calvin Johnson is mad about this. Yeah, it's not, he's got plenty of money. That's not the issue. But he's going, I would have made plenty of more money and had a longer career, but you know what? I put my knee on the line for this football team week after week and just basically obliterated it to where it's just bone on bone, and he couldn't even practice towards the end of his career. He just played on Sundays. And, that's where I think as a player he's looking at it and going, damn, okay, now you're going to make me pay you back, and, I'm going to have to manage my knee issues for the rest of my life. That's where it's not cool, and I hope that the Detroit Lions do the right thing and find some way to compensate him or make him feel better about the situation.
Yeah, look, I agree with you, and it was a bad decision by the team. It was bad advice, bad agenting by Calvin Johnson's representative to not just get all this worked out ahead of time, because they weren't going to keep him. And if Johnson wanted to push, the team would have cut him. They weren't going to carry that $26 million cap number into 2016. All right, one more subject, and this is an expansion of what we talked about earlier. We had a segment that focused on the best current quarterback rivalries, sparked by Tom Brady and Peyton Manning getting together again. And instead of focusing on the best rivalries directly, I want to take it in a path that it kind of went on its own during the show.
Yeah.
Is there another potential Tom Brady, Peyton Manning rivalry out there, Chris? I see a couple possible, but I don't see the planets lining up in the same way. Because here's the problem. You have to have 2 teams in different divisions. So they're likely to play each other in the playoffs, more likely to play each other in the playoffs. They're not competing head-to-head, and it doesn't get subsumed within the rivalry between the 2 teams.
Right. Because
that always takes center stage. If it's a great rivalry between 2 teams, it's not a great rivalry between 2 quarterbacks. But you almost need to have that AFC East, AFC South vibe where the Colts are clearly the best team in the South, the Patriots clearly the best team in the East, so they always finish first in the division, so they always play each other in the regular season, and they encounter each other in the playoffs. So I think until something like that happens, you're not going to develop a rivalry like Brady and Manning.
No.
And, some of the candidates out there, it's going to be hard for them to be in position where they're winning the division every year, and it's not going to have that presumption that we're going to see those two two guys square off each and every season.
Yeah, I mean, this is the greatest rivalry I've ever seen. I really think, just thinking back about it, it's the greatest quarterback rivalry ever. And you mentioned all the key aspects too. And the other aspect I'll bring up is we're in a situation where you and I, we've talked about this a lot over the last 2 weeks, where we've said it's the golden era of quarterback play. I'm just afraid that, so much of the good quarterback play is going to ruin our chance to get a rivalry, right? You know what I mean? Okay, gotcha. Looks like Mayfield and Mahomes, that's going on the right track where we might have a rivalry in the future. But then Deshaun Watson gets on fire for 2 years in a row, and then we don't see, Mahomes and Mayfield play each other. Those are the things I worry about. It's really the overall greatness of quantity of quarterbacks we got in both divisions, especially in the AFC, where you do see, like you said, the potential for some of these great ones, where I go, man, there's so many great QBs, though, that they might cancel each other out to where we never get that really one-on-one rivalry like Manning and Brady, because there was years there where Manning and Brady were just so far above the rest of the NFL that's what made it so great, and so far above the rest of the AFC that they stood alone. And that's where it was special, to where I don't know if we'll get two quarterbacks that can just stand alone by themselves like that in the same conference ever again.
Yeah, I agree with you. And there's so many factors that go into it. And I wish I would have appreciated it more while it was happening, because we may not see another one. We might look. You got to have guys about the same age. I think Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes have a chance, but I can't see the Browns and the Chiefs consistently winning their divisions. I think the Chiefs, yes. The Browns, it's going to be difficult.
Right.
So they're not going to play every year. And, if both teams aren't winning their divisions, then it's less likely they're going to meet in the playoffs. So in the NFC, Wentz and Goff, we mentioned during the show, the problem is Wentz is always injured when the playoffs roll around.
Yeah, right.
And and he was injured last year when they played in the regular season. Nick Foles won that game for the Eagles against the Rams. I mean, that's got potential. But again, are the Rams going to run that division for the next 5 years? I don't think so. Are the Eagles going to run the NFC East for the next 5 years? I don't think so. There's no division right now other than the AFC East where you can point to one team and say that team owns the division, which I think you need two divisions like that, with quarterbacks who are young enough that they're going to be around for a while, about the same age, so they will be around for as long. Although here's Tom Brady years after Peyton Manning's retired, still going strong. But I think that's what we need.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to have it anytime soon.
No, I don't either. I think we'll see a lot of great quarterback duels throughout seasons and years where we're going to go amazing. But I don't know if we'll get that consistent rivalry like we did with Manning and Brady.
All right, Chris, you're cut loose for 4 weeks.
Damn, that's
assuming
it?
that they'll have us back. See, once we go away, they may decide, we're kind of okay without those guys. But,
I don't know. I looked at they might. I looked at my contract. They still got to pay me, so that they can do that if they want.
That's true. I hadn't thought of that angle. But here's the bottom line: we've done it before, and we've always been back. We will be back. And here's the thing: I'm not going anywhere, because I'm going to continue to do PFTOT on weekdays. Any weekday you're bored, Chris, and you want to drive over, it's only 5 minutes. If you just feel like you want to, get back on the horse for a day, come on over. We'll make a space for you, and we'll have some fun. I have a feeling you're not going to take me up on that.
See you July 29th, Mike.
Hey, how about, but we established that your wife Danielle at some point is going to be saying to you, when do you go back to work again?
Yes.
So maybe I should tell her, if she ever gets exasperated with you, tell you to go to Studio 6 for, just to get out of the house for an hour, and we can do this anytime you want to do it.
Maybe we'll do that. You can dangle it out there in front of me. Maybe I'll say yes, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that means shut the hell up and leave me alone.
Too much will be predicated on what I've done the night before with those decisions, too. And that, this time of the year, we don't know where that could go. It's I don't have to get up early. The night before could be a lot of fun, so I don't know if I want to deal with you the next morning.
Well, enjoy the hiatus, and everybody, we'll be back tomorrow with PFT Live, PFTOT. And like I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be doing videos, PFTOT, etc. during our hiatus. So, some of us continue to work, even though, don't tell anybody, this really isn't work. If we would tell people that, they'd stop paying us. It's kind of fun, and I'm going to miss doing it.
Yeah.
But, Chris, it's been a great, I guess it's the end of our season.
It's the end of our year, right? Right, yeah.
It's the end of our year.
Right.
4 weeks later, 2019 officially begins.
So
enjoy it, buddy. Great work as always, and we'll see you soon.
You too, man. Thanks for having me as always. It is a fun doing the show with you, man.
All right, buddy.
See ya.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.